French President Emmanuel Macron and the Finnish Prime Minister are stepping up in the Brexit debate, saying they want the UK to come up with a written plan on Brexit by the end of September. The UK has responded, saying it would table Brexit solutions, but not according to a, quote, artificial deadline. Well, to get the latest on this, let's bring in France 24's Dave Keating, who's in Brussels now. Dave, what's the thinking there from the European Union? Is this a real deadline that was given by France and Finland?
Well, in a sense, the UK is right. This is an artificial deadline. In fact, from two parties that aren't really the people who make these decisions. Finland right now holds the rotating EU presidency, but that actually doesn't have anything to do with the European Council, which is the one that's going to take this decision. And of course, the French president, while an important leader in the EU, does not have the authority to speak about these Brexit negotiations. That is supposed to be solely the job of the EU's chief Brexit negotiator, Barnier. But in the end, it is a reflection of reality. There's only so much time to dot all the I's and cross the T's before this thing is passed. Don't forget, any kind of deal does have to be passed by every single parliament in the European Union. So really what they're saying here is a reflection of reality. If something comes much later than the end of September, it's going to be very hard to get that passed before the October 31st deadline. At the same time, I would say that if the UK came to the EU27 with an offer that we know is acceptable to them, for instance, having a Northern Ireland only backstop, I highly doubt that the EU27 would say, no, we said the end of September was the cutoff, so we can't accept this. I'm sure that they would take that offer.
Dave, of course, all of this comes as Britain's Supreme Court's hearing a third and final day of legal arguments today over whether or not the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, acted unlawfully when he suspended Parliament in the run-up to Brexit. How has Brussels been following that case?
Brussels is definitely following the suspension of Parliament very closely. But as the judges keep noting in that Supreme Court case, the outcome of that verdict won't have any material impact immediately so on Brexit itself, whether or when it happens. And so I wouldn't say that Brussels is following that court case very closely because it is seen as a mostly domestic issue for the UK. But everybody is very aware of the prorogation of Parliament, and we saw that in the Brexit debate that happened at the European Parliament yesterday. Many leaders in the European Parliament were openly mocking the UK for not being a proper democracy, and there were a lot of calls for the UK to reinstate Parliament. So as long as Parliament remains prorogued, it is providing the UK's critics in continental Europe a club with which to hit the UK with criticism. But I would say the actual verdict in the case probably isn't going to make a huge difference to whether or not Brexit happens.
Dave, thanks for that. That's our Dave Keating reporting live from Brussels. Well, here in France, the left